I'm probably going to put more effort into editing this video than Marvel did into creating Aries. That's saying a lot because I'm not even going to do an intro joke.
Is it worth it?
What's going on, nerds? If you want to see what I mean by Marvel being lazy with Aries, check out my last short, the lore video. But yeah, let's get into Aries. Aries is a 4 energy, 6 power card that reads on reveal, compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your total's higher, plus 6 power. Overall impressions of Aries. Art seems fine. It's alright. I mean, a little boring, sure, but it is 12 power for 4 energy, and off the top of my head, I think the only place you're going to get that is basically Shang-Chi if you hit something and Miss Marvel. But now that I say that, Miss Marvel's not really in the meta at the moment, so maybe Aries isn't good enough. Not sure. Obviously, it's going to be a Surtur card. It might go into decks outside of that. Maybe? I don't know. Let's get into the pros and cons and figure it out. The good of Aries. Easy requirement. First thing here. What I mean by this is if you put Aries in your deck, you're obviously building the deck to where he's going to trigger every time. Like Miss Marvel is 13 power for 4 energy, but you kind of have to you have to play carefully and, meet her requirements. For 1 less power, the requirement Aries has is way easier to meet. Honestly, actually, I think the requirement for Aries to trigger and hit 12 power is probably the easiest of all the 4 drops. It's easier in Crossbones, probably not easier than Cold Obsidian. It's easier than like Jessica Jones and Rescue and all that stuff. And you get more power. So yeah, not bad. Second point here, kind of obvious, big power, a dodoy. For 12 powers, that's like a 6 cost card power, 4 energy, not bad. Third thing here, good early and late. And usually cards aren't good both early and late, especially when they have the power to energy ratio that something like Aries has. Take, for example, Cassandra Nova. If you play it on turn 3, it's great. If you play it on turn 5, it's kind of crappy. A lot of cards in Marvel Snap are like that, especially the cheaper cards. They're not too great towards the end of the game. Aries is good on turn 4, turn 3, if you Zabu, obviously, or Psylocke. And it's also good on 5 and 6. Unless you come up against a mill player that's playing like Yondu and, Cable and shit like that, Aries is gonna trigger at any point in the game. You can't say that for a lot of cards, especially ones that offer you as much power as Aries does. All right, on to the bad, shut down easily. I usually don't include, if you've watched my reviews before, I usually don't include like, oh, this tech card is good against it, therefore this card's not good. Terrible argument. But here, when multiple tech cards shut down a card, then it's a valid argument. And basically here, I mean Cosmo. Cosmo is going to stop Aries. Shang-Chi is going to stop Aries. Shadow King is going to stop Aries. A lot of things can stop this card from triggering. Playing against a mill deck is going to stop Aries from probably triggering. But yeah, this card is more easily shut down than a lot of the other power plays. And the last thing here, it's not flexible. Probably. And I mean probably because obviously this is a Surtur card, but maybe it is good enough to just put in like, I don't know, let's say a War Machine deck, for example. It might be because you're playing like Infinite and Ebony Maw in those decks usually. Who knows? The last thing here, the not flexible thing, I think is where we're going to really see if Aries is a good card or not. Obviously, it's going to be good in one deck, but is it going to impact the meta whatsoever? Is it going to be a card worth purchasing? If it's more than a Surtur card, then yeah. Example deck, what do you know? It's a Surtur deck. Honestly, I kind of messed up when I made this, but I already saved it. And I don't want to like make another screen for it. Squirrel Girl, it probably should be like Nightcrawler or Nico or something. But anyways, it's a Surtur deck. We got Zabu and Psylocke to get out all the cards earlier. Surtur really fell off when they changed Scar and Typhoid Mary. But Aries is better than Typhoid Mary, even before Typhoid Mary got changed. So maybe this deck is just good enough to be solid now and impact the meta. I will say we have Cosmo is counter to Aries technically. Like if Cosmo's in a lane, you don't want to play Aries there. But we have armor too. So armor can protect the Aries, where Cosmo can protect the other stuff like Crossbones, Cull, and Scar. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You know what it does. It slams big points. Things get bigger, things get cheaper. Moving on. All right, should you spend resources on Aries? So as far as tokens go, I can't say yes. It's just maybe if it's like it ends up being good outside of Surtur decks, maybe, but still I wouldn't anyways. I would absolutely wait to see if Aries is actually applicable to other archetypes before you spend tokens on this card. Just don't do it. Now, as far as spotlight keys go, this one, I think it's pretty easy. So as far as Miss Marvel goes, yeah, I said it's out of the meta right now, but it is a good card. And if you don't have it, it's nice to have. So if you don't have Miss Marvel, you do want Aries, you've played Surtur in the past, you're thinking about playing it in the future, then sure, I could see spending keys to get both of those. As far as Misery goes, Misery's a weird one. I thought it was bad when it released. I think it's bad now, but there are certain decks you cannot play without Misery. So if you don't have Misery and you don't have, and you want to get Aries, you could justify using 4 keys to get both of those. If you don't have both of those, then yeah, that's a great proposition. If you do have Miss Marvel and Misery, or you don't care about getting them, do not spend keys on getting Aries until we figure out if it's more flexible than it seems, or if it's as good as it seems. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Later, you fucking nerds. Where's the stop recording button?
What are you looking at? Duh.